So you're telling me that the reason the Titans are losing more games than we want them to lose is because of the time that they play the games at noon?
Exactly, because the third quarter is the worst quarter. We always lose. I personally study this. Even in the stadium, when you're looking there, everybody is kind of slow, and the net point differential for the Titans is the worst in the third quarter, -23, -19. The offense is not firing, the defense is not doing the job. So if you can find a way to not being stuck at the 12 noon slot, I think we might win more games.
But aren't most games played at noon on Sundays? I mean, that's football time, right?
No, the best teams never play at noon. It's only the teams that are on the bottom play the noon games. The top teams never play the noon games at all. So, we trade players, we trade staff. I think we need to trade times to have the equal opportunity. I even know why the Lions lost. It was later at night. The second half, if you look at the Lions at night, they were sleepy. The Niners were awake, and the second half, the Lions never showed up for the NFC Championship. So they were sleepy. It was their bedtime while they were hitting the prime time. So some teams know the advantage, some teams don't. So I think everybody needs to be fair about this.
So we're talking to Bijoy John on the root of all success today. Dr. Bijoy John, who's a sleep physician here in Nashville, Tennessee, and he's got some pretty strong feelings about the reason our team here in Nashville, the Tennessee Titans, is losing more than we want. Correct. Is because of the noontime. So you have dedicated most of your adult life to studying and understanding sleep. You wrote a book called Nobody's Sleeping, 7 Proven Sleep Strategies for Better Health and Happiness. And you've got Sleep Fix Academy, which offers resources on how to sleep better, get more out of sleep. When did you decide sleep was going to be your specialty?
So this is from a very young age. I went to med school when I was 17. So I always knew if I sleep better the night of the exam, I usually perform better. So there was something about getting adequate sleep, before a big performance, before an exam. But what do most of us do? We stay up the night, we burn the midnight oil, we are burning the candle, and we don't do well. So I knew that from a young age, but this is in the 80s, we never talked about sleep. But now we know how sleep is so important. The elite athletes, if you ask the most elite athletes, what is the self-care they do? They all say we focus on sleep. So I knew from a young age. Then as a business owner, as an ICU specialist, I did that for 25 years. I was always sleep deprived, shift work, night call. I was in a bad, groggy mood. And when I lost my mom, I couldn't sleep. So sleep affects all of us in many, many ways. But once you know the superpower and you sleep better, you are fully charged. Your brain is so fully charged. So that's why I formed the 7, proven sleep strategies through my own experiences and how to overcome all of that.
So if sleep is this important, why are we not taught about it? I mean, I remember as a kid very vividly, I think his name was Vickers. He was a dentist in our local hometown who came to the elementary school and did a slideshow on a reel-to-reel projector on how to brush your teeth and how to have good dental hygiene. I remember that very vividly because I have pretty good dental hygiene. I think as a result of he taught me how to brush my teeth. But nobody ever came into my elementary school or my Boy Scout group and taught me how to sleep. So what's going on? Why are we focused on that?
So Jason, sleep problems don't hurt like a toothache, right? So we ignore those, right? We put it away, but it catches up. It'll take, many months and, weeks to months to years before it catches up with you. So talking about children, the lack of sleep is a cry for help. I clearly mentioned in my book, small children, meaning before you leave high school and go away to college, should sleep well. And if a child is not sleeping, and all the parents that are listening and the educators and teachers, they should stop everything and pull the child and see why the child is not sleeping. It is a cry for help. Usually there's underlying anxiety, depression. So that's how important. I think all the schools should focus on teaching children how to sleep. My mom taught me how to sleep. She taught me the power of naps, which is coming back now, everybody, So we need to focus. We got to get those kids at a young age, teach them to sleep so they can, once they go out, college, nobody sleeps. It's people schedule they stay up late, schedule the classes late. So we have to teach children before they leave the comfort of our homes.
When we are hearing people talk about how much sleep you need,
Yes.
normally it's 8 hours is thrown out. Is that actually the real number, or is that just a rule of thumb, or is that just lazy math, lazy science?
No, it is science. So we all need, as adults, need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Children need more, babies need even more. So somewhere along the line, it's misconstrued. Some people are short sleepers, like Elon Musk. He only needs 3 or 4 hours, and that's a gift. Most people like me, I don't know about you, I need about 7 hours of sleep, and most adults need that much hours sleep, because only when you sleep that many hours, you will have the cycles and stages of non-REM, REM sleep for us to be adequately refreshed and feel fresh. So once that message gets along that only we need less sleep, like a few people, then that spreads along the society, and then people say, hey, I can sleep when I die. But literally, if you are going on the path, I tell people, you might get your wish.
Steve Harvey has a famous clip that's rolling around on the internet about, of course, he hosts the Family Feud, and he always talks to the audience either before or after the show, and he gives these inspiring, uplifting, and funny statements. But he did one on what you just said.
Yes.
Like, rich people don't sleep 8 hours.
Yes.
And he talks about you could sleep when you're dead. And I did a react video to that, got a ton of views on it because I disagree with him.
Yes.
I think that what you're saying is right. Like, we have to prioritize our health and our sleep, and the fact that we can sleep when we're dead.
Yeah.
I love Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, and I think he's right on most things. But that thing, I think he's wrong. Why do we see people like him telling us that we don't have
So
to
that's
sleep?
wrong information. See that little bit of people who are doing well, that's not the norm. See, you take that, and to make people more productive, the message is, hey, you don't need to sleep much, you need to hustle and work. But no, you actually achieve more by sleeping more adequately. So I think he's clearly wrong, and I think he needs to be educated. That's a wrong sentence what he made. He's painting with a broad brush. The brush is very narrow when it comes to less sleep for a few people, right? Like, the classic example. Even Elon Musk, he thought we don't need much sleep because he's like that. Then he finally realized, hey, I'm different. So he went on national TV and said, hey, everybody sleep more, I'm different. So he finally recognized it. So maybe Steve Harvey needs to learn about it too.
And there's another guy, Robert Herjavec, who's on one of the sharks on Shark Tank. Yeah. He's the guy from Croatia. I forget, he's from somewhere in Eastern Europe, but he talks about he only sleeps 4 to 4.5 hours a night, and he believes that his employees should do the same. Like, you don't need 8 hours. And I heard him talk, and I like Robert. And again, I'm like, dude, that you're an anomaly. This doesn't exist. For me, Dr. John, I know that 6 hours is what I have to have. If I don't have 6 hours, I can go a day or two getting less than that. But if I don't have at least 6, I'm worthless. I can't function. If I get 8, I feel fine. But if I get more than 8, actually, it works against me. Why does that happen?
Great question. So it all depends on how do you feel in the morning, right? If you slept 7-8 hours in the morning and you feel great, that's the end of the story, you're great. But if you still are tired, then you have a sleep debt. So to answer the question, what happens if you sleep longer? You have more REM sleep in the later part of the day or the night and the mornings. And if you wake up from that, that's not a very restful stage of sleep. So that's why when people, especially when they take long naps or sleep later, till about 8 or 9, they don't feel refreshed because you're spending a lot more time in the REM sleep, which is not a great sleep.
So we need to be in deep sleep?
Correct. The deep sleep is stage 3, non-REM sleep. So that happens earlier part of night. So that's why I always tell people who have a schedule. So why do you have to schedule? Because I tell to people to prioritize sleep between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. because around between 10 and midnight is when you get that non-REM, sleep. And as the night progresses, you go into the REM sleep, which is not the best. So the stage 3 non-REM is the most sweetest sleep. I call the sweet sleep. And the REM sleep is not very restful. It is, another misperception miscommunication in people. Everybody thinks REM is a great sleep. It's not. It's good for memory, consolidation. It's good for healing, dreaming, but it's not good for feeling rested.
I'm going to ask my apprentice, would you bring me my cell phone? I know you're taking pictures, but I want to show Dr. You can walk into the camera. I want to show him something. So this is, I use a Fitbit. I wear a Fitbit 90% of the time. I sleep in it. It is my alarm clock. And I haven't looked at it lately, but it tracks sleep. You're familiar with this, I'm sure,
absolutely.
Right?
That's part of my business.
So I want to open my Fitbit and I want you to analyze the Real Jason Duncan sleep patterns. So like here's last night. You can see I slept 7 hours. It gave me a sleep. Feel free to scroll. It gave me a sleep score of 85, which is good, but it looks like my deep sleep is only
very less, hour and 19.
Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time in the lighter stages of sleep. So this is a problem, Jason. You might have to see me, or we might have to talk. What were you doing the night before?
I had a friend over. We hung out on the back porch. We smoked a cigar. We talked.
Were you drinking also?
I had one drink.
Okay.
And went to bed, no problem. And so if you look at, like, I'm sleeping 7 hours, 6:51.
Yeah.
Like that's 6 or 7 hours is what I get every night. But I have here you go, Justin. I'll give this back to you so you can take pictures and stuff. I have mild obstructive sleep apnea,
Yeah.
and I wear a Moses device. Are you familiar with the Moses device?
Yeah.
So I've worn that, I don't know, 10 years. It's
Yeah.
been a long time. And when I first started wearing it, I could back up and tell you the whole story, but when I first started wearing that, I dreamt so amazingly and vividly. I don't think I had dreams in years, it felt like, and it was so crazy. And my wife said she had to check to see if I was alive because I snored so bad. And now wearing that device, I didn't snore. But I don't have the same experience I did when I first started using it. I just didn't want to do a sleep pack. I didn't want to do one of those.
No, see, that is
CPAPs.
what happened to you is scientific, right? See, what happens is in REM sleep, your muscles are paralyzed, and your sleep apnea, because the throat gets even more narrow and there's more obstruction, your sleep apnea gets worse. So your body is not letting you go into REM sleep. So the moment you get treatment, so whether it's oral appliance, CPAP, there's something called REM rebound or REM rebound. You get more REM and then a lot of dreams happen. So then what happened? Why did it wear out? Maybe the device that you're having is wore out. Right? So it's not as effective as it used to be. Or sometimes I give this analogy, like if you have a cell phone and if the processor is fast, then you get used to it. Right? Then you want a faster, so your new norm is set higher. You need a faster computer or a faster phone. So that's an analogy. But the number one reason I think is probably you need to retest or measure your oral appliance and get a newer one.
I know it's got an adjustment thing on it where I can adjust it, and every, I don't know, six or months or so I adjust it where it's tighter. It pushes out the jaw, the lower jaw. I think the idea is it pushes the lower jaw a little out further.
Correct. And also what happens, your testosterone might be even lower. So that worsens sleep apnea. And same thing in women, when the estrogen drops, you have more prone for sleep apnea, or if you have gained weight. So there are three things. The position, they probably wore out, or your sleep apnea got worse because of lower testosterone, or you gained weight. So many reasons.
Well, I've lost a lot of weight,
yes.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Testosterone is low. The doctor I was telling you pre-show, like he did a testosterone treatment on me, or not a treatment, but like a blood test to see, and I am low, so I need to work on that, and I'm working on that. But the device itself, I probably need to redo. But man, I just don't want to do a CPAP. I don't know why I'm so afraid of it. I just don't want to sleep with a machine.
No, there are other treatment devices. There's something called, tongue device. It's called an Excite OSA. You keep it on your tongue to strengthen your tongue. See, the tongue is the problem. In 30 seconds, what happened? The tongue falls back and closes the airway. So there's a word before sleep apnea. It's called obstructive sleep apnea. The obstruction happens because of the tongue. So we're trying to take the tongue out, get out of the way. You either move the jaw, strengthen the tongue, or use CPAP, which pushes the tongue. So I have sleep apnea myself. I use the Excite OSA device for that.
I don't know what this is. Tell me a little bit about this.
So the tongue is a muscle.
Right.
So you strengthen the muscle just like you strengthen you when you lift weights. I lifted weights, my muscles are a little tight. So the same thing, you send an electrical signal to the tongue, so the tongue becomes, becomes more tonic, and it doesn't become flabby. So when it becomes flabby, it falls back. So I've been using it for 2+ years, and I don't snore, and my sleep apnea is gone.
So is that something you wear at night?
No, it's a first FDA approved device for snoring and mild sleep apnea during the day. I'm on my Peloton, I'm on my phone, I keep it in my tongue, I'm done for 20 minutes. I don't do anything, mess with it at night. I used to use CPAP earlier on, but now I use that device.
So you just wear this for 20 minutes?
Yes.
While you're awake?
Yes.
And it just, I guess your tongue is pushing against it. It's like...
No, it sounds like it's like a tense unit. It's
it's electric?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's shooting
so that the muscles are, more active.
Is it battery powered or plug it in?
You just plug into a USB.
Oh, okay. So, and you've done that for 2 years and you don't snore anymore.
No, I'm not.
You sleep great.
Sleep great.
Like your Fitbit would show you have deep sleep.
Oh yeah. Look at me. I'm ready to go, bro.
I'm actually a little tired right now that we mentioned it. So you said sleep. We were talking before the show. Sleep affects everything. We talked about. We were joking about the Tennessee Titans and football in general.
Yeah.
Like noon's a terrible time to play a football game. Yeah. But you said it affects everything. Sex. It affects food, or food affects
weight.
Give us a little bit of a. Tell us a little bit about the sex. We'll keep it PG, but how does sleep and sex and all that work together?
Let's take a quick break to thank our amazing sponsors for making this podcast possible.
You know that sinking feeling when you're waiting on an urgent payment to come through? The one that you needed in your account yesterday to pay your guys for the last job and start buying materials for the next one? Yeah, you know that feeling. It's the feeling of a cash flow crisis, and it's a sign that you should be banking with Relay. Relay is an all-in-one banking and money management platform that puts you in complete control of your cash flow, all from your smartphone with no monthly fees. I love their app, by the way. I am a customer. With up to 20 free checking accounts, you can separate your cash for every project or set up dedicated accounts for things like payroll, taxes, and material costs. Relay makes it super easy to keep tabs on every dollar and know exactly how much money is flowing through your business. You can assign up to 50 debit cards to team members to cover everything from supply orders to coffee runs. You stay in complete control with the ability to set spending limits or freeze cards in seconds. They even have a Relay credit card that you really should check out. It helps tremendously with cash flow. And if you work with an accountant or a bookkeeper, you can assign them secure read-only access to your accounts, so they always have everything they need to keep your books in pristine condition. The best part? Relay is 100% online, so you never have to visit a busy bank branch in the middle of the crazy workday. From depositing checks to creating virtual expense cards, you can do it all from your phone without ever leaving the office or the job site. Get banking built for small businesses. Sign up in 10 minutes at therealjasonduncan.com/relay. That's therealjasonduncan.com/relay. And by the way, I am a customer. They're not just a partner with me on this podcast. I actually use them as I bank with them. So go check them out. therealjasonduncan.com/relay. Relay is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services provided by Thread Bank, member FDIC.
Just a simple fact, right? You're just tired all the time. You're not in the mood because you're tired all the time, right? Where you're in survival, you're tired. So that's number one. So in a serious note, when you have disorders like, sleep apnea, so when you have an apnea, it narrows the oxygen level is low because you're not breathing. And that low oxygen narrows the blood circulation to the testes, and you don't make much testosterone. So if you look at, there was a study done, if you look at a lot of patients who have sleep apnea, majority of them had low testosterone from the sleep apnea. So because, the blood vessels is narrowed and there's not enough circulation and you don't make much testosterone. Very easy. In fact, one of the major reasons for people seeing in my office is low testosterone. So this is actually, and you have underlying sleep apnea, and they have shown people who are treated with CPAP, testosterone actually improves. How about that?
So So you could get on a CPAP machine or some sleep device like
Correct.
you're talking about,
Yeah.
and your testosterone can improve.
Correct, because
or I guess conversely, if
Yeah.
you took testosterone replacement therapy, it would also help offset the effects of it, right?
That's where it's all interesting. See what happens when your testosterone's low, everything sags. So what happens? The back of the throat, the muscles are sagging and just plops in there, so it closes, right? But the testosterone replacement is challenging too, because if you have too much testosterone, the muscle and the fat changes, and then it can narrow the airway. So it has to be done by an expert who knows what the heck you're doing, right? So be careful about testosterone. Low testosterone is bad, and increased testosterone is bad for you in regards to sleep apnea.
So when I was a teenager,
Yes.
like early teens, 12, 13, like we're talking, I've snored my whole life.
Right.
There was one trip, we went camping as a family a lot, and there was one trip where my little brother, my mom and dad and I were sleeping in the back of the truck. We had a camper on the back of the truck, and my parents, I think I was 12 or 13, like woke me up and kicked me out of the camper. Said, you can't sleep here because you're snoring so badly. And I tried to sleep in the front seat of the truck, bench seat, didn't work. So I ended up sleeping outside. I vividly remember that. And then at 19, I did a sleep study at what was Baptist Hospital, St. Thomas Midtown now. And they said, oh yeah, you have, and I slept there. Like I did in the bed, slept overnight, did that sleep study. And they said, you have very, very bad sleep apnea. So I had surgery. So they took my adenoids, my tonsils, my uvula, and then they also like lasered out my sinus cavities. And for, I don't know, probably 10 years, I couldn't even make a snoring noise. Like I couldn't do that physically. But now it's all back. Like I can do it. And I went back and had another sleep study, but this time I did it at home.
Yes.
Home sleep study with the device you wear on your chest. And that's when I started using the Moses device. But that's been about 10 years ago. But like for somebody like me who had this early onset sleep apnea, I know you don't know because you didn't treat me, but what causes that? Like, because I was just a kid. I wasn't fat. I wasn't overweight. I mean, I've always carried a little bit of weight, but I wasn't obese or anything. So what causes that?
Great question. So, see, like I mentioned, there's a word before sleep apnea. It's called obstructive sleep apnea. We usually miss the word it's called OSA, obstructive sleep apnea. So in children, it's usually the tonsils and the adenoids. So other things could be structural. Some people have an overbite so that the jaw is pushed backwards. Some people have big tongue, which blocks in the back. Some people have excess uvula and the punching deal back in the back of the throat. All those things, when they're excess, they can cause, they can contribute to the narrowing. So both my kids had, I used to take them to school and they passed out. They had obstructive sleep apnea from enlarged tonsils and adenoid. Both of them had their tonsils out and the adenoids out. They started feeling much, much better. So the sleep apnea is resolved. So in children, it's usually tonsils and the structural problems. So as adults, it is weight gain. Weight is equally distributed all over the body, and then some fat narrows the throat. And so anybody who has a big neck, they're likely to have sleep apnea. That's why I always measure people's neck. So, and then as life goes on, low testosterone happens. So it's a progression. So to answer your question, why did you have it? That was a structural problem, tonsil, you got better. And then as adulthood happened, you have other changes, weight gain, low testosterone, all that happened to you. So that's the natural progression of sleep apnea.
So if someone doesn't take their sleep seriously and they have sleep apnea, maybe they don't know it. Most people, I would imagine, don't know that they have it. What are the repercussions? Because you said it early on that the reason we had a dentist come to my elementary school is because toothaches hurt where sleep problems don't hurt until they do.
Yes.
So what are the repercussions of not paying attention to sleep and if you have sleep apnea?
I mean, sleep affects all organs from top to bottom. So when your brain's not rested, see the sleep activates something called the glymphatic system, which clears all the muck. As the muck builds in your brain, you are at risk for dementia, right? You are at risk for memory problem. You are not in a good mood. You're not in a good you're not happy in your relationship, and you are at risk for errors. Think about all the major disasters that have happened at night. Did you know that in the NTSB data, there's only 2/3 of vehicles, less vehicles on the road, but 2/3 of all accidents happen at night because people are, sleepy. So it's a major problem. So that's, if you look at the brain part, it affects blood pressure, and uncontrolled blood pressure can have stroke. It affects diabetes because when you're not sleeping well, the adrenaline, the catecholamines are increased, and that causes blood sugar. So if you have uncontrolled blood pressure, you have uncontrolled diabetes, you got to get your sleep checked out. The same thing for anxiety and depression. So they have a bidirectional relationship. So if your sleep is poor, you're going to be more anxious, and if you're anxious, you're not sleeping better. So mental health is huge. Then go down, weight. So when you don't sleep well, the hormone controlling or diet or appetite controlling hormones are kind of altered. There's two major ones, leptin and ghrelin, which are reversed, and you tend to gain weight. And also, if you don't sleep well, naturally you're awake more and you eat more. So it affects all parts of the body, head to toe, whether it's your cognition, whether it's how you feel, mental health, diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, in your sex life. It affects everything. So we are not paying attention, but even academic performance, your memory is bad, you're not, kids who sleep more perform better in the exams. In athletic, 60% of most of the athletes who do the athletic sleep screening questionnaire have sleep problems. So, either they have restless legs or insomnia or sleep apnea. So it affects all parts of the body. You see, the message is you can be a better version of yourself if you sleep better.
So if we could pull this back and talk practical.
Yes.
So if we look at practical advice from a very successful sleep doctor, author, coach, speaker, and you, Dr. Bijoy John, what are some practical tips that the listeners can take and say, all right, this will make me better, sleep better? Because just going to bed earlier or getting up later is not really it, right? There's more to it than that.
Yes. So I have in my acronym for the 7 proven sleep strategies, I have an acronym. I'm ready to share if you're ready.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. It's called Sleep Now, SLEEPNOW. So easy to remember. The S is the schedule. I talked about it a little bit. Prioritize sleep between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. so that you can get all the stages, and cycles. Then the next is the L in the acronym. Low light, low temperature, low noise. So melatonin, we are a factory of melatonin. I don't prescribe melatonin for anybody because we make so much melatonin. We need to know how to harness it. Melatonin is only secreted in darkness and lower temperature. So keep your bedroom, at a lower temperature and also dark. The word mela in melatonin means darkness.
What do you mean by low temperature?
65 to 70. 68 is probably optimal.
My wife is going to hate listen to this because we keep it a lot warmer than that at night because I'm so hot. Like I don't even use covers at night during the summertime.
Yes.
So
you can split. You can have the cooling systems in your bed. You can adjust that. See, Jason, if you went to a tropical vacation, you don't never sleep better because it's hot. The reason why you're not secreting melatonin, wherever I've gone, I don't sleep better if it's hot. This is the answer right here.
All right, so schedule, low temperature, low noise, and low light.
Yes.
So that, I think low light and low noise is probably pretty common. We sleep with a sound machine, we always have for years and years and years. So what's the E?
E is the big one, electronics. We're all addicted to this thing, and we're going to fight our way to spend more time on it because it gives me everything I need. I don't need anything else other than my phone. So where do you get that extra hours? By compromising on sleep, right? So I tell people, and also the danger is the light from the devices is telling your brain it's daytime. So I tell people to wean off your electronics at least 30 minutes prior and leave it outside so you're not tempted to pull on it. Hey, what time is it? Then you wake up, then it's 3 o'clock, and you start worrying, and you might have a notification or something. Your mind is. So I tell people, get off the electronics 30 minutes prior and leave it out. I keep my phone, I set an alarm for desired time, I leave it in my bathroom, so I literally have to wake up. It's not near to me, I don't hit the snooze button. So that's the big one. The biggest thing, I can go on for like an hour on that topic, right? But for the sake of time, we'll go to the next one. It's called E. It's called next in the acronym is exercise. Exercise releases endorphins and also generates body heat. So melatonin is only secreted just prior when our body cools down. But if you're going to exercise close to bedtime, you don't sleep better because your body is still hot. So I tell people at least 2 hours, ideally 4, but minimum 2 hours prior to going to sleep, don't exercise. So exercise in the morning, or if you have to, try to exercise well before bedtime.
All right.
So the last one is the P, S-L-E-E-P, is power off your mind, right? But remember, you can only power off your mind if you give it a chance. You power off, cool down your body a little bit. You're not getting distractions with your phone. And I teach 2 techniques here. One is called vivid imagination. I'm a huge fan of that. I do it myself. I'm the first guy to promote vivid imagination to sleeping. So when you lay in bed, you don't want the abstract. You don't want the reality. You want the abstract. You want to think about whatever, whether you are the director of a show or whatever character, and I go and become that character. I don't think about the bills or the exams or getting ready for the podcast. I don't think about nothing. I go into the abstract myself. And then also the next technique is yoga nidra. So nidra means nothingness. Yoga is you lay down, it's called the corpse pose. You lay down with your palms high, like just flat, and look up the ceiling and just focus on different parts of your body from your head down. So that's this relaxation. So that's the P in the Sleep Now acronym. Then N-O. No to worries. I was talking to Justin, hey, give me one tip. I said no to worries in bed. I tell people to take a dedicated worrying time between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. I was, looking at your directions and all that last night. But at 8 p.m., I'm getting ready for my bedtime at 10. Right? So dedicated worry time. Don't bring your worries to your bed. So this is huge. And write it down by 8 p.m. Hey, I need to resolve this. I'll resolve it in the morning, right? And see, the power of sleep I'm trying to do is when you have a problem in your life, what do we tell people? Let's sleep on it. Do we ever say let's exercise on it or let's diet on it? Because sleep is a superpower. It helps to heal us. Memories, conflict resolution. It is mystical. It's magical. We dream. So I want everybody to harness that. And we'll go. And the last one is W, is win by losing. This is one thing you can win. The hustle culture, we are like hustling. We want sleep to be an on and off button. I wish it was. But it is a dimmer. You have to really work at it. Slowly dim it. Work at it. So that's, we are met our match. Hustle culture. Met is match in sleep, but if you sleep better, you can hustle better, right? But you don't need to compromise on your sleep to hustle more. So practically, I tell people, hey, when you're entering your bedroom, it's like a TSA screener. You're having your phone beep, leave it outside. You're carrying all your worries to your bed, beep, you leave it outside. So keep it easy, keep it simple. It will come to you, work at it. I have a course that I offer to people online. So if you want, the Sleep Now, how to do it online, you can take it. So, I want everybody, because I've discovered through my own perils, and I'm taking care of more than 50,000 patients in the last 25 years, and I've helped many thousands of patients to sleep better, holistically, without medications. The easy answer is a pill, but long term that doesn't help.
So with your experience
Yes.
as a sleep doctor and with this acronym for Sleep Now, which
Yeah.
is very easy to remember,
Yeah.
is there a target that people should look for in terms of sleeping? I know you said 7 to 8 hours, but if somebody's tired and they're having trouble, they're lethargic during the day, is it, hey, sleep more, or is there some target they should be looking for? Hey, make sure you're doing, other than the things you just said, is there a time allotment that they need to give to sleep?
Great question. So when you're tired, when you're not sleeping well, it's the tip of the iceberg. So when I see somebody with a sleep problem, I'm asking them these questions. Do they have a mental health problem? Are they anxious? Are they depressed? Do they have a medical problem? The people who have heart problem, they're tired all the time. People who have breathing problem, you're spending so much energy breathing. Then if you're taking diabetic medicines, or medicines for blood pressure like diuretics, you're using the restroom and waking up, and people with diabetes wake up multiple times at night. So I look up into those causes. And then next thing I ask them is, do you have a sleep disorder? Do you snore? Do you have restless legs? Do you move a lot? So I categorize, and then this is what I experience as a physician gives me. I go through. It's not just sleep. The lack of thereof is a tip of something more sinister. So I tell people, hey, if you're still tired after sleeping 7 or 8 hours consistently, see, most people, if after night a call I'm tired because I have a sleep debt. Most of the college kids have something called sleep debt. They are going without sleeping. My children in college, they say, Dad, I have a sleep problem. No, you have a sleep debt. So I tell them to come unplug them, and 3-4 days they sleep. It's called bed rotting. I prescribe bed rotting. You need to rot in your bed for a few days, get your sleep, and then you're fine. But if you're consistently sleeping 8 hours and you're still tired, you might have other problems. Pay attention to your body, because sleep is it's like the guide of something else sinister in your body.
So you have developed a very successful practice,
Yes.
and I want to talk about the business side of being a physician. Most physicians
Yes.
are not very good business people.
Yes.
They're great practitioners, and they do really good at serving and treating their patients, but they're terrible at business. You and I don't know each other well enough for me to say you're a terrible business person or a great business person, but I know that you've succeeded at a pretty high level because of the way I met you.
Yes.
Like, I know you play in the right circles because we met through some pretty high level circles here in Nashville. But why do you think, let me ask you this first of all, why do you think most physicians are not good business people, not good entrepreneurs?
So physicians, we are a mold of people. Our mindset is different. We are here to help people, heal people. So we're not in the business. Most of us are not good businessmen because our mind is catered towards caring, nurturing. We carry the load of all those people. But somewhere along the line, we have to wake up. Me personally, I had 4 specialties. I was so busy. Somewhere, my underlying passion was to promote sleep. So I had to leave all that. And in the end, it's time, right? You have to have time to get those skills. So I had to come out and join the mastermind class, because be an entrepreneur, you have to do all that. But physicians' mindset is different. We are born different, more into caring. That's why I think fundamentally, but we can become, but we need to be coached. We need to be taught. We're all smart. If you can become a doctor, the discipline and the smartness, I think you can. But it's a matter of time and the awareness that you can be better.
So with your practice, how long have you had your own practice rather than working for a hospital or working somewhere else?
So I'm in my 4th year. So I do certain days in my practice and certain day on my business. I take time out and promote my this online business and my book. So I split my time between 2 things.
Well, talk about Sleep Fix Academy, because you started that, within the past few years?
Yeah, last year.
Last year.
So I have my clinic. I'm able to serve, folks. But sleep is a global. I call it the new pandemic. It is affecting all of us in many ways. And the thing is, not many experts are talking about it. Because like you mentioned, doctors are working hard. There's no time. So I made myself that I'm going to make my life's mission to bring awareness to this problem to the world. So I started, that's why I have an online, Sleep Fix Academy. I'm on all the social platforms as Dr. Sleep Fix, always talking about sleep. And see, when you have a problem, first you have to understand, but most people don't realize it because they're not aware of it. Even during this conversation, you saw the impact of sleep can have, on all parts of our body. Many people probably, this is the first time they're hearing it could affect your, blood pressure or blood sugar, because I get calls from people after they read my book. That's the most gratifying thing is when, hey man, I didn't know this is the reason. One guy called and said, he didn't sleep as a child because his dad fed him ice cream every night. He was called a weird child because he didn't sleep, because the simple knowledge that the high glucose meal, high glycemic foods affect your sleep. So he was so grateful. And the same thing I get a lot of calls about the blood pressure medications coming down. So there's a lot of awareness by sleeping better.
So with your practice over the last 4 years, what has been the one biggest surprise about running a business as opposed to just being a physician that you've learned?
See, the buck stops with me for everything. So that's another hat I have to wear, because employees, bills, regulations, everything, but I'm surrounded by good people. I have the experts in the field. When I have a trouble, I ask somebody. And so, plus I've slowed down. I was running at 100 miles an hour, doing many things. Now I focus on one thing, and that has helped me a whole lot to have a clearer vision in what I do.
And what does Sleep Fix Academy offer in terms of, if somebody says, hey, I want to look into this, they can Google Sleep Fix Academy, they're going to find you. You're on Instagram as Dr. Sleep Fix. What do you offer people in Sleep Fix Academy?
So whatever I taught, I've digressed my book into the 7 steps, and it's available. It's called the Sleep Now course on Sleep Fix Academy. It will say my course, and there are a lot more things to learn, if they follow me on, the social media. But if you really want to change your life, it'll take 6 weeks. It's a 6 weeks course, self-help. You can do your progress and find out all the things I talk to and improve on it. And I think, by sleeping more, you're a better version of yourself than compromising on sleep.
If you look back over to your existence as a doctor and as an entrepreneur, what do you believe is the one key that's unlocked success for you more than anything else?
So, life, I lead my life on this 4 principle: faith, family, fitness, and friends. Of the foremost is faith. So life happens to all of us. So I keep my faith very strong, in my beliefs as a Christian. I instill that in everybody around me, especially my family. I've been reading the Bible every night for 45 years. I start from cover 1 to cover end of the Bible. I do that every night. So that gives me the discipline. And so if I can do that, I can do a lot of other things. Then of course, family is most important, because you have to be content and happy with people around you, right? So you can never be happy unless your people closest to you are happy. Of course, fitness, I work out 5 days a week. This is September is my month. I want to work out every day. So I'm taking the challenge. So far, 4 days have been good. So I want to work 30 days this month, work out 30 days. And of course, friends. So faith, family, fitness, and friends is the 4 pillars of I've kept that simple. It's very simple and very complicated, but everybody needs to be aware. Life happens to all of us, and sometimes when you don't, faith guides you through it. Carries you.
Amen.
So that's the most important thing. And I have great happiness. The joy is in my name, and I share it with every person I meet. But also I sleep great. So,
what would you say is your definition of that word success?
Success is success is a state of being. How comfortable you are at when you are by yourself. How comfortable you are within yourself, right? So it can mean for me, success is having everything. It's always easier to cry in a Mercedes, right? You need to have wealth, and then you need to have family, you need to have fitness. So wealth is a huge part. Then you can give, right? You can give to other causes you believe in. So it's just not one thing. So I tell young people when I'm speaking in my I also try to mentor young people, is that if you're pursuing something and you're losing yourself, then it's not worth it. You have to have all the pillars and grow, with it. So that's what defines how comfortable you are in your solitude defines your success.
Do you consider yourself, by that definition, do you consider yourself successful?
I am the most successful because I feel so content because I have everything what I want to. So nothing else matters. So I have all the 4 pillars. I was telling my wife the other day, I said, I'm the most happiest I've ever been.
That's great. That's really, really good. How old are your kids?
I have a son, 27 and 23. Both of them are kind of normal people, responsible and successful. So I've raised good children, responsible kids.
Are they following in your footsteps to be a physician, or are they doing other things?
No, they said they saw me work too hard in the ICU. They said, Dad, but they are in the field. One's in medical sales. He's working here in Nashville for a medical sales company, and my daughter is in law school. She wants to be in healthcare, corporate. So they're in the allied field, not to be on the ground. I can't blame them.
Well, what if you could, as we kind of close our conversation today, I want you to put your coach hat on for a second and think about what would you advise an entrepreneur who's listening to the show, based on your experience, 4 years of starting your own practice, now also having Sleep Fix Academy, being an author. What's your best piece of advice for entrepreneurs?
So, you cannot settle. You have to raise your bar for the new normal. So then you have to go to the next new normal. But I have a piece of advice. But if you're raising your bar, and if you're falling and you're not happy within yourself, then that's not the way, right? So we have a gift. Whatever you're doing, if you're able to push yourself to the new normal, go for it. But in that process, don't lose yourself. Because I've come across many, many successful people who lose. And I have had personal one-on-one conversation as a coach and a mentor sometimes. Very, very wealthy, very successful people, athletes, and all kinds of, they've lost something, and that's not worth losing. So make sure when you're dealing life, you see with both eyes. One eye be the focus on something, and one eye be your family. So you have to see with both eyes, and that's the best piece of advice I ever got. And I tell people to do that. Have your focus with two things, and don't lose one for the other.
That's really good. Well, congratulations on all your success.
Yes.
It's an honor to know you. I'm really glad that we met through the local mastermind here in Nashville that we met through back earlier this summer.
Yes.
But congratulations on what you've done. Congratulations on the success of your book. I'm looking forward to hearing more about you building Sleep Fix Academy to be a juggernaut, to get people back to sleeping well and back to real, true health. So thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, man. It's my joy, and I want to spread the good news of sleep by once focusing on that, because sleep is complicated. It is the tip of the iceberg with so many problems. So sleep well, be well. I'm on this mission. I'm going all over the world teaching this. My book has already got an award. It's already translated into another language. So I'm excited about all that's happening in my life. So let's go.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out?
So my office is based in Brentwood. You can Google my name. I'm available everywhere. Or you can Google Sleep Fix Academy, or on all the social media.
All right.
I'm easy to find.
Well, good. Well, thanks, Doctor. So this is the book. So everybody go check this out. Nobody's Sleeping, 7 Proven Sleep Strategies for Better Health and Happiness. And we went over a Cliff Notes version of that today on the show, but there's a lot of really great information in here about how to be better at sleeping so that you can be better at everything else. Sex, food, exercise, life, being better at sports. Well, hopefully the Titans can win a few more games and we get them to sleep better and play at a different time. But I want to thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Listener, for listening to the show. It's an honor to be able to bring this show to you every single week, where I interview very successful entrepreneurs and people that are successful in whether it's medical practice, entertainment, law, or whatever it happens to be. It's all about figuring out what is the root of success. That's why I named the show The Root of All Success. And as you heard him talk about that, I want you to go back and listen to what he said. It's very important, keeping those 4 F's. This is really important. So go back and take a listen to that. And go check him out at Sleep Fix Academy. Check out his book, Nobody's Sleeping. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time when I talk with yet another very successful entrepreneur about his or her journey to success. Until then, as always, I'm the real Jason Duncan, and Jesus is King.
Thank you for listening to another edition of The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, visit therootofallsuccess.com to access the show notes and other helpful resources. Follow Jason on social media at The Real Jason Duncan. See you again next time here on The Root of All Success.